I'm Dani Shapiro, and I'm the author of a new memoir, Inheritance, a memoir of genealogy, paternity, and love. I discovered 2.5 years ago through doing an ancestry DNA test quite by accident that my beloved dad had not been my biological father. And I went on this deep dive to try to understand what had happened. I quickly came to realize that in the early days of reproductive medicine and artificial insemination, that my parents had gone to a fertility institute and and that somehow a sperm donor had been introduced into the equation, something that I had never known. A number of years earlier, I had written a memoir called Devotion that is a memoir of a spiritual inquiry. And so without actually knowing that I was doing this, I kind of amassed a spiritual army of people that I could reach out to. And, whether it was my Buddhist friends or my rabbi friends or my minister friends or my guru friends, I came to recognize what I was going through as a spiritual crisis, as much as it was a psychological crisis and an intellectual crisis even. It was a crisis of personhood. But it, at its core, was a spiritual crisis. And I asked for help. I asked for help right away, and I'm not a person who easily does, but I knew that I needed it, and it was kind of extraordinary to me that I had it on speed dial, that I could reach out to these people who are my friends and say, how do I do this? How do I get through this? I learned that secrets are corrosive and toxic. A secret was kept from me for my entire life, and it formed me. I learned that we can be formed by what we don't know as easily as we can be formed by what we do know. I also learned that it's possible, in discovering such a tremendous secret that really goes to the core of identity, to, in the end, feel incredibly empowered and liberated because I learned the truth. We're in a moment in time where so many of these secrets are coming out. And there's something about being in a community of people. Every secret is different, but being in a community of people where there's a sense of sharing this and not being alone in it and shining light on what had been previously festering in the darkness. So meeting my biological father, which I was able to do, was not like meeting my father. I didn't feel that I was meeting my father when I met him. In fact, though he's a lovely, lovely person, and I recognized that I came from him very, very clearly. But in fact, it made me understand so much more deeply what a father is, what it means to be a father, and what it means to be a family, and what it means to be devoted. And ultimately, the journey was about understanding the risks that my own dad took, the emotional risks, the treacherous terrain that he walked in order to be able to bring me into the world, and it's only made me love him more and feel more like a daughter to him. If I had learned what I learned at 18, it would have been one experience. I learned it at 54. It's a completely different kind of experience. If I learned it at 78, it would be yet another kind of experience. But the metabolizing, the integrating of such a thing is a very delicate and long and slow process. And what I would say is be gentle with yourself. It's in these kinds of discoveries that have to do with DNA, with paternity, with genetics, it's very easy to just feel like a complete freak of nature. And I guess one of the things that I really learned in writing the book is we are all accidents of history. Every single person who's born is an accident of history. These kinds of discoveries have a tendency of making one feel a little bit more alien. And so the journey is really one that's back to a sense of humanness and wholeness. And I can tell you that I feel more whole and more human than I did before.